Thanks, everybody. So I know you have your packets, and there's drawings that you may have seen on the easels. But I did want to reiterate what Steve said on the timeline, that we've been at this for quite a while, and we've really been working hard. So we hope that you like what you see when we see it. A few things we did from when this used to be out on the edge of town, as Steve said, we've moved the facility to attach to the existing facility. There was one comment at one of the earlier town hall where somebody had actually suggested that, and so that was kind of the starting point of when we thought, we could keep this existing clinic. It's not that old, and we could use this as the specialty clinic, and so that was one big change. It's the intent that the existing hospital be torn down after the new one is built, and so showing you just this zoomed out here to show we can show 14th and 12th, just so you can see the access points, that the emergency vehicles and patients who need emergency care could come in on 14th, could also still come in on 12th and go around. But this is here the intended drop-off for the patients, and then this is for the ambulance here. I'm going to actually zoom in one click there. Oops. Yeah. So we have some parking for patients who've come in to see the emergency department in the back here. And the emergency department, I'll show you in a minute, is just right on the other side of the door. And so the intent was to get the proximities correct there, and also have a separate path for the ambulance. Currently, the ambulance and people coming for a walk-in emergency are coming in the same door, and we really wanted to keep the ambulance separate so people would be coming in the right way and seeing the people that they needed to see. We also have a mobile MRI that's adjacent to the imaging department, and we'll show you that too here in a second. And then, of course, the back of house service area in the back. But off that main entry there, we have our lots of parking for this will be for everything now. This will be for the clinic space as well as for the patient room. So if you're coming and visiting a family member in the patient room, that's here at this end. And so everybody comes in the same door. So you go left if you want to have a clinic visit. There's access to all the different departments off the one entry. And again, the existing clinic remains. So inside, that's the main entry we were just looking at. This is the new rural health clinic. And then the existing clinic would become specialty clinic. So they actually have more space in here than they do the specialty clinics kind of down here. And so there's yet to still figure out a little bit about who's going to office where. And some of the administration folks might office in here as well when the existing hospital is torn down. Oh, sure. So the yellow represents circulation, represents the lobby. So you come in the main entry here, and then there's check-in booths for everybody, for the clinic, as well as if you're coming for pink here represents imaging, and this light pink is the lab. So if you come in, it's a hub, kind of a hub and spoke concept where everything is accessed off that central hub. And we've provided some glass so natural daylight can come into this hub. We've also provided some dietary functions right up front, so you don't have to migrate all the way through the hospital to get to that. So sometimes folks just need a little bit of a respite. They're visiting a family member and that person's having a test or something like that. The family member can come out and grab something from that area and sit down over here in the kind of eating area. It's off the main lobby. Just gives a little more of a feeling of healing and welcoming. And then, as Ella was mentioning, this is the pathway that attaches off that central lobby to get to specialty clinic. So just as you'd come down this and go into rural health clinic, it's just one more pathway to get to the specialty clinic. And then there's an existing stair and elevator in the center that many of you might have taken down to physical therapy, and that's also going to remain. That was also one of the cost savings. Physical therapy was fine and in good shape, and so there was no reason to demolish it, to build a new one. Nuclear medicine was the same way, getting that close to that function for cardiopulmonary. There's the new surgical wing, the imaging, and then the emergency department all next to each other. So the proximity between the CT that Steve was talking about earlier in the existing facility and the emergency, the trauma bay, is just right across the hall. And so this is really one of the nicest parts of the new design, is that the nurse station sees the patient care areas, the inpatients, the emergency patients kind of off to the side, and then the imaging right next to it. And so the folks recovering from surgery will also come and use these exam rooms. So it's a dual purpose, so there's nothing wasted. We're going to try to make sure we have multi-purpose rooms. And I think that generally covers what's going on inside the facility. So I'm going to exit this and show you a quick animation of some of what the new facility is going to look like. So this is from 12th Street, looking past the existing. Oh.
It's really pretty right here.
Looks really good. Oh, there we go. Ryan to the rescue. Thank you. I'll try this again. So this is a view from 12th Street. And we're just going to zoom in and kind of drive around this, but this is the front entry. And the majority of the hospital is made out of precast concrete, so very, very durable. Doesn't ever have to be painted. Will last a really, really long time. And still an attractive exterior finish. All the parking is also made out of concrete, so extremely durable. So to your heavy hail environment and just extreme weather here is well thought of here. This is the natural light coming into the lobby. It's really the predominant feature, letting that natural light into the area. We have 3 volumes, kind of reminiscent of your logo, or there's lots of references to 3 and trinities and different things of that nature, so we kind of played on that just to give people a sense of hope and when they come to the facility. So we're walking inside. That was the drop-off and canopy to cover that. As we walk into the lobby, the first thing you see is the registration booths. So it gives you some sense of privacy, and you can come in and talk to somebody there and check in for whatever you're there for that day. A lot of the stuff is actually done beforehand, and so you're just showing up and they're giving you your paperwork. And then we have kind of a central waiting area separate from the main lobby space there, just to, if you're waiting out to come into either a lab or specialty or rural clinic there. There's some natural light coming in from above too. We popped the top on this just a little bit to let it be a little more airy, so you're not feeling so compressed when you're inside, just something to give you a feeling of inspiration. This was the area where the grab-and-go food was, the cafe, and then kind of looking back towards where we just came from, the main entry volume here with some seating and the desks, and then over here is that separate eating area. And you can go through the door there. It just faces south, so on a nice day you can go outside, and there's a couple of tables out there so you can enjoy the day. As we walk back towards the patient wing, this is the chapel area. Just another option. We like to give patients and family members a kind of a choices of where they might go, options to have a respite. And these are the windows into the nursery, so you can see the babies. Bless you. And this is the central nurse station. And so when you come to see a patient, you'd come to the nurse station. And again, they have access into, those are the emergency rooms back there. And that's the emergency room waiting out there so they can monitor that. And then this is the patient wing. So also from that central zone, they've got good ability for security and safety. They can monitor everyone. And this is an example of one of the patient rooms, with much more space in the floor area itself. And then the toilet area here is for the patient, and then this front area is for the nurse, caregiver, and then in the back, there's a family zone. So a family zone, patient zone, and caregiver zone. There's a sleeper, so somebody can stay over, so there's plenty of room. It's not oversized by any means, but it's size right for these kinds of functions. And looking back at the caregiver zone, so they can come in and do a few things and stock up supplies and not interrupt a patient who might be sleeping. And it's just looking back at the nurse station there. And I should have mentioned this with the plan, but all these departments are on the outside of the building, and so should you expand in the future, everything kind of folds out and can expand outwards. so that we don't have a sawtooth patient wing that can't be expanded or remodeled later. And this is the side where you might come if you were a walk-in emergency patient. You'd come to this door, and depending on the hours, you might come and have to ring a bell, but with the positioning of that nurse station, there'd be somebody in there all the time. So really have a nice feature there. Bless you. And then we're just going outside that walk-in emergency area, taking a peek from what you'd see as you pull up. You know, in the case of an emergency, you know exactly where to go. It's kind of it's a little bit higher up, so it just kind of lets you know the one you're supposed to go to. Sometimes in an emergency situation, you forget all the things you think you know. And these are nice windows for the patient rooms. And just kind of flying back around to the front entry. And that's it. Gonna exit out of this. And they were outside too, but we did a few